Hi, it's 1010, the Navigator, and today I want to talk to you all about Sodom and Gomorrah and what I think possibly occurred and why this is an example to our planet now and others to follow. And you're probably like, what do you mean? Okay, so I'm going to get to that, I promise. So here you have the term Sodom, the word Sodom, which means flaming, burnt, furrows, wet fields, demons, breast, their assembly. Now, I really want you to focus on the meaning of flaming or burnt. So Gomorrah, I didn't capture this screen, so I apologize. But Gomorrah means tyrannical dealings, throws, people of fear, people who shoot arrows. And that's word for word what that means. So if you have time and you want to look up in Abarim publications, you can find the meaning of exactly what I'm saying here. So first we have Sodom, meaning flaming or burnt. Gomorrah, meaning tyrannical dealings, throws, people of fear, people who shoot arrows. So the people of Gomorrah were fearful and they shoot arrows. So maybe more of a primitive species of human. All right, so here you have your typical scene of Sodom and Gomorrah, hell, fire, brimstone coming from the sky. But what if I told you? And if you follow my channel, you probably already know where I'm going to go with this. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Bible, actually the Torah, Genesis 18, 1 through 14. And this is the story about Abraham and Lot. Now, if you don't know the story about Abraham and Lot, there were two lands up for grabs. And I'm going to say to you, instead of saying two lands, what if we look at it as two planets up for grabs? Okay? The first planet being, wonderful, beautiful place or whatever. And the second planet, maybe not so great. Or Sodom and Gomorrah is actually just one place and one planet. I really haven't worked out the details on that yet, but I'm going to show you what I found and the evidence that I can provide that is possible that Sodom and Gomorrah is actually a planet. And this is just an example of what happens when you don't follow the rules. Okay, I'm trying to be very cautious about what I say. So in Genesis 18, 1 through 14, Abraham was waiting at his tent, and three men came to him. He saw God in the form of three men. So he brought them into his house and, they talked. And in Genesis 18, 15 through 33, they were telling Abraham that the outrage and the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah was so great that God was going to see whether they had acted according to the outcry that reached God. The men went on to Sodom while Abraham remained standing before God. Now, Abraham pressed God that he would sweep away the innocent along with the guilty. He wanted to know, are you going to destroy everyone on this planet? But God would not spare the planet for the sake of the innocent ones. But when God finished speaking to Abraham, God promised that he would remove the innocent ones from Sodom. Now, I want you to think about the innocent ones. It has nothing to do with the fact that they're without sin, because we can see, and I will show you, that this particular person is not innocent and probably is one of the worst people in the Bible. Oh, one of them. And so God said, all right, I will spare this particular person, that being Lot and his family, because you asked me to, because they are genetically similar to you. Now, in Genesis 19, 1 through 20, Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom, and two angels arrived and greeted them. And I also want to point out that in Revelation, two angels came and were trying to speak of, you better turn away from what you're doing or we're going to destroy your planet, in essence. So we can see that this is a common theme. And I want you to understand that it is possible that this could be the first incident of this. It might not have been, but I want to point out a few findings that I see in the evidence that I found as to why. Now, the men of Sodom saw that the angels were there. We call them angels, Anunnaki, whatever you want to call them, came. And the men of Sodom were like, bring them out. Bring them out. We don't want them here. Now, when you look at what goes on in Sodom and Gomorrah, a lot of people say, and there's a lot of articles, there's a lot of dealings with the fact that the men of Sodom wanted to have sex and be intimate, and they wanted to know the angels. I think that they were like, yeah, we want to know you. We want to know you. We want to destroy you. Okay, bring them out. And I'll tell you why. Because Lot offered, and this shows you a different perspective of the men on this particular planet, that Lot offered the men his two virgins, which in my opinion, and we can all look at this, make Lot not look so innocent. Who offers their two virgin daughters? But the men didn't want any dealings with the women, with the two virgin daughters. They wanted to deal with Lot and the two angels. And let me tell you why. Because the very words that I'm speaking come from the Torah. And it says that they wanted they wanted to question his guests. And they disparaged Lot as one who had come as an alien and now sought to rule them. And they pressed threateningly against him. They were intimidated by what Lot was doing, what Lot sought to do. Lot wanted to rule over them, and it specifically says that. And they use the term alien. Now, you'll say alien as in, from a different place. Alien is alien. We just use that term now to cause confusion here on this planet. But if you're not from this planet, you're an alien. Okay? So, the angels struck the men of this place with blindness, so they couldn't find the door. And I thought to myself, the door to what? Possibly a portal? Could have been. And the door to maybe their ship. Now, there is the side story of the wife turning into a pillar of salt. I don't know about that. That could have just been added to show, like, if you don't listen to your husband, this is what happens to you. Excuse me. Now, it took the angels, they had to straight up take Lot. They seized him and his wife and his daughters and brought them out to flee for their lives. Okay, so I got to thinking, and it's a dangerous thing to think. So we have the planet Venus, and I want to just drop a little bit of knowledge on you. It is the second planet from the sun and the Earth's closest neighbor in the solar system. It is possible that Lot went to Venus and Abraham went to Earth. okay, because Earth was not destroyed. Okay, this is all just my thoughts, all right? And let me tell you why. Because the atmosphere of the Earth, of Venus, you can melt lead. An atmosphere so thick it would crush you, and the clouds of sulfuric acid that smell like rotten eggs to top it off. Now, we have fire and brimstone. And Venus is the hot, hellish, and volcanic planet. Why is that? Let me tell you why. Sorry, guys. So, here's what happens to planets when they don't do what is expected of them by Yahweh. Ezekiel 16:49 through 50 defines the sin of Sodom as pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy. Now, they're speaking as if it's a female. And Venus, am I correct? Aside from the planet Earth, are two feminine planets, Mother Earth and Venus. Here's the thing. She didn't strengthen the hand of the poor and the needy. Who are the poor and the needy? The Jupiters. And the people of Venus, I'm filling this in, were haughty. And they didn't help. And this was the problem. Now, in Christianity, the concept is sexual violence. But in the Old Testament, it speaks of her lack of hospitality, her lack of giving over to the Jupiters. And do you know what happens to those who don't? In Jude 1:7, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in the like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Now, we could say going after strange flesh means, okay, originally these group of people came to Venus, the planet, and they were different, and they maybe in the beginning welcomed them. We can see that throughout history when it comes to the Jupiters. They're welcomed. And then what happens to these places? They don't give over their power. They have pride. They don't help the stranger. They don't help the poor and needy. But we're not talking about just anybody. We're talking about those of which read the Torah. Now we can see now how Earth has gone through cycles with this particular group of extraterrestrials. And I do think that is why a lot of people here on this earth try to be very accommodating to the Jupiters, because they know that an example was set not only by Venus. Here's exploding sodium and sulfur, similar color to Venus. Here's your typical picture of, Lot leaving with the angel. Mercury is not just hellishly hot, but apparently covered in brimstone. And this is from space.com. Four miles worth of it. Now, Mercury is not just hellishly hot, but apparently covered in brimstone. A vast part of the planet is covered with dried lava. So there's that. Now, I got to thinking, What's the location of the planets in our solar system? We have Mercury, Venus. Mercury was first, probably. Then Venus. It's possible that Mercury and Venus are Sodom and Gomorrah, and they got destroyed. Fire and brimstone. Sulfur. So we're looking at two planets suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. The sun. They're close to the sun now. They're closest. But Venus, the atmosphere of Venus is very hot and thick. You wouldn't survive a visit to the surface of that planet. You couldn't breathe the air. You would be crushed by the enormous weight of the atmosphere. You would burn up in surface temperatures high enough to melt lead. Now, Venus is the twin sister of Earth, right? They're twins. And this is why I do believe that we can see a lot of workings and dealings with this particular extraterrestrial group. Because if we don't work with them in this way, if we don't offer the hospitality that they want, there is a potential for the destruction of our planet Earth, or the removal of us from our own planet and placed somewhere else. So I hope this made sense. I've been a little tired lately, but again, this is in no way, it sounds like I'm attacking, I'm not. This is just a different observation. But like I said, if you don't help the innocent, which is how they view themselves, as well as the needy, those without a home, an alien, you need to open up your planet, your home to them. And eventually, just like we've seen throughout history, in a cycle of different events, you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. So anyway, wow, sorry about that, guys. Hope you all are having a great day.